Hi, my name is Kate McLeod. I'm the head of School and Teacher Services at the High Museum of Art in Atlanta, Georgia. Today I am taking over the High Museum's Instagram story, #AMA Ask Me Anything. Thank you in advance for your questions. I got into museum education through a paid internship at the Smithsonian American Art Museum. After that, I got my graduate degree in art education, and following that was the recession, and I did a lot of volunteering. So I volunteered at a museum in Florida for a while, and I just loved working in museums. I knew that was something I wanted to do. I love working with objects and with paintings and sculptures and being able to talk to people about them and about how they feel about them. At the High Museum, we don't do anything in a vacuum. We create all of our programs with our community partners who guide us in creating accessible and inclusive tours and resources for students and teachers. We have a partnership with the Center for the Visually Impaired, the Atlanta Area School for the Deaf, and a lot of other community partners who help guide us in this programming. We make sure that everything is as accessible and inclusive as possible, and we always get feedback. So if something's not working, we change it. For example, for the Center for the Visually Impaired, we created a touch tour for students who are have a hard time seeing or are blind. And on this tour, they're able to get up close and personal with replicas of works of art that they can see, feel, and experience. I'm really proud of all the work we do at the High, and this is an ongoing process that we want to try to be as accessible as possible for everyone. We have 7 collecting areas at the High Museum, and I have enjoyed working in every single one of them. From our oldest work of art in the collection, which is from the Neolithic or Paleolithic time period, to work that was created this year. Probably the one collection that I have learned the most from is our civil rights movement photography. The High Museum has a large collection of photographs from the civil rights movement, and I have learned a lot from that collection. I've learned a lot about Atlanta history, about the Southern history, United States history, and beyond. That's really been very impactful for me, but also for me to engage with individuals who have lived through the movement and are still living through it. The conversations are relevant and something that I think is important for all generations to come. And I'm really proud that we have that collection and we're able to talk about it with visitors. What exhibition do kids like a whole lot? That's a tough question. I've been at the High Museum since 2010, and I've spent a lot of times with kids in the galleries. We have a children's book series, and I remember when we had Mo Willems who wrote Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. Kids were all over that. That was a big exhibition for kids. But also the Virgil Abloh show, just to go back to that, seemed like older kids and just people in general were really into that exhibition. So usually it seems like anything that is interactive, but also how you engage with kids, you could really get kids and anybody into anything if you have a conversation with them. So it's been really fun seeing what people are into and what they're most interested in, but that's just kind of my guess. For artists to get more involved at the High Museum, I would suggest that they just keep working on your art, keep showing, make sure you have a website or an Etsy page or something out there that people can go and check out your work. I know that our curators are always looking for people who are really active in the community, who are creating work, who are showing their work in local galleries, or, I mean, it doesn't matter the size. It could be a small gallery or something really large, but as long as you're out there and showing that you are a practicing artist and that you're honing your craft, that's really important. I also, as a practicing artist myself, I did a lot of volunteer work at museums, and that was really helpful to get me to know who the staff were and who the people were behind the scenes. Those are ways to get more involved and ways to really understand how museums work, and also just reach out to people like us. We love to talk to artists and to our community, and we're here to answer any questions or just talk about your work and what you're doing. I would love to hear from you. This is a good question. All right, if you've been to the High Museum, you know there's this ramp that goes all the way down to the bottom. I would change that ramp into a slip and slide so that kids can go all the way from the top. No, insurance issues. Scratch that. If I had an unlimited budget, I would get all the kids in Atlanta and beyond for free. That's something that we're working on anyway, or something that we want to do, but that would be really, really great to be able to do something like that. Next up, probably the slip and slide. You know, we know this next year is going to be tough. Virtual learning is real and it's happening, and we got to get ready for it. We want to be a resource for y'all and whatever that you need, not just in Georgia, but beyond. So did you know that the High Museum has thousands of works of art on high.org that is free for download, all high-res images? You can use them. We also have tons and tons of teacher resources that already exist. They're also on high.org, free for download, geared for all age levels. So check those out. Those are great resources. But also you can Zoom us in to your classroom. We're going to be creating virtual tours that you can download for free, or you can ask a museum educator to come into your classroom and talk about art. Teachers are so creative and so smart, and I know you're going to come up with some amazing things. I know this is a tough year, but we're in it together and we're here to support you, really. The High Museum has a lot of very peaceful and quiet spots that I love. I love the contemporary galleries because they're really big and there's 1,001 skylights above you, so a lot of natural light comes in. In our administrative building, there's a space called the Winter Garden, which is where I'm sitting now. It's inside of the building, it's enclosed, but we're surrounded with palm trees, as you can see. It's just a little quiet nook within our space. We have all these big open windows and we can see buildings outside. I love to eat lunch here, have a conversation with a friend, or just sit and be quiet for a little bit. This is probably one of my favorite spots. In a perfect world, a teacher would do some research about the works of art that they may see on the tour that they selected, or the exhibition that they're coming to see. So preparing your students to see whether it's an upcoming exhibition, or if it's a Celebrate Black History tour or an IC Literacy tour, read about the tour objectives. They're all on our website at high.org, and prepare your students a little bit in advance so that they know what to expect. I'm originally from Montgomery, Alabama, and I come from a family of artists. So I was really lucky in that my mom and our house was always filled with art or art supplies, and my mom would let me paint with her art supplies sometimes, but she would also take us to go visit artists who were around town. So we used to visit the artist Mose Tolliver, who was originally from Montgomery, Alabama, and also known as Mose T. The High Museum owns a couple of works of art by Mose T, and I'm pretty partial to those. I think they're pretty fantastic and wonderful and talk a lot about Mose T's life. I've been at the High Museum for almost 10 years and have worked on a lot of different special exhibitions, and honestly, I know this sounds like a cop-out, but I have loved working on every single one of them. Probably the exhibition that is the most memorable to me is either this past exhibition we had by the artist Virgil Abloh, or a sneaker show that we had a couple of years back, Sneaker Culture. Both of those exhibitions were a lot of fun to work on, had a lot of references to pop culture, and it was just such a joy to see kids come in and be able to relate to the content, and for us to have conversations with them about it. We serve about 50,000 students at the High Museum pre-pandemic and a couple of thousand teachers every year through professional learning programs. I love working with students and teachers. It is what drives my work. Students are hysterical and smart. Teachers are passionate and lovely, and I love when I get in a conversation with an educator and we start to bounce ideas off each other. So they will come to me with what they're studying in the classroom or about their curriculum. I'll connect it to works of art in the collection because art can connect to anything. And then we build off of that work, and it's so fun. So if you're a teacher and if you have an idea for a program or a project, come to me because I will love to talk to you. We've been working mostly from home this summer, or a lot of us. So I've spent a lot of time at home preparing for the fall, getting ready for what students and teachers need from the High Museum, as well as running virtual programs either for the public or for teachers or for students, programs called Art School, Teachers Lounge, Conversation Pieces, all have been a blast. I'm back in the office, as you can tell, and I am preparing more for the fall. So as schools and districts are making their plans, we're making our plans around schools and districts so that we can offer the best programming possible for the next school year. This is a big topic for us and one that we take very seriously. I am really proud to work at the High Museum that has an endowment called Art Access that allows students who go to schools that receive Title I funds or underserved populations to come to the museum for free. We can also cover bus transportation costs, and every child that comes to the museum will leave with a welcome back card so that they can return with their family and friends within the next school year. Usually through that program, we'll see about 30,000 students a year, and it is the heart and soul of what we do. Now that we're going into a brand new world with virtual learning, we will continue adding programs that will be free of charge for students who go to schools that receive Title I funds. Okay, this question is way harder than any other question that I received. There are too many. There's too many memories. I love hanging out with kids in the galleries. It's so much fun. I seriously can't pick one instance where it just was the best day ever. Okay, let me just think. So there was this one time where, so a lot of times when I ask kids, like, what do they want to see at the museum? Sometimes they tell me dinosaurs or whale sharks, and we don't have dinosaurs or whale sharks at the museum per se, but we have works of art that include dinosaurs or whale sharks. So I'll be like, well, we're not Fernbank, we're not the aquarium, but hold on, because we can use our thinking caps and go see works of art that have it. And they usually are very excited, and it's a blast. Probably one of the best experiences is whenever we run into an artist in the museum. We had an exhibition that featured Vic Muniz, who is an artist who works with found objects, and he is such a nice guy. So we ran into him. He agreed to hang out with kids. He even agreed to do a workshop with kids where kids got to make their own Vic Muniz inspired artwork, and that was just so cool. I love it. There are just too many experiences, and I'm so grateful for my job and everything that I get to do here. Thank you for joining me for Ask Me Anything. Thank you for submitting questions and allowing me to answer. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and the museum is open, so come check us out or check out our virtual content at high.org. Thanks, y'all. Bye.